Your name and how you spell it.
My name is John Roach, Johnroach.
Now, I know the answers to that. I know the answer to that question, but I got to ask it for the record.
100%.
You've been on the bench for some time.
Yep, I've been on the bench for about 20 years.
20 years, and this is the end.
And then 6 months will be in the end.
Did you want to take on this trial?
I wanted the Collin County Judiciary to take on this trial. It was important to me to have somebody from Collin County preside over this Collin County case. So I didn't ask for it. No one. That's not how it works anyway.
Yeah.
I didn't ask for it, but I was certainly willing to do it because that was my duty.
In your conversations with, my guess it's an administrative judge who goes, I know they go down the list and they say, all right, it's your turn and it's your turn. As they go through all the conflicts of judges that may, potential conflicts, when they come and say, John, this may be yours, your first reaction is?
I'll take it. Every time. I think it's my job. It's my duty. That's what I was elected to do.
Yeah.
That's the oath that I took, and I'm going to do my job.
No consultation with your family?
None.
No.
Nope.
And where does that come from?
I don't know. I think it's just duty. I think duty, whether that's duty in the Marine Corps or just duty to my family and stuff, I take duty really seriously. And I took this job to perform that duty. And if that's what I had to do, that's what I have to do.
Did you fully, at the time, grasp the enormity of that decision and the outside stuff?
I don't know. I think in some ways I did. I think in other ways I didn't. I certainly knew it was a very, very important case within our community. I didn't think I realized the enormity of the social media and the media during the trial.
How long have you been prepping for this trial?
I've been prepping for this trial with the departments, with the Collin County system, with the sheriff's office and everybody for about 8 months.
Is that the longest you've ever had to prep?
100%.
Why?
Logistics. One of the critical pieces of this case where we had minors who were testifying. Prior to me getting the case, we had some of those witnesses doxxed and swatted and revealed on social media. I didn't want that to add to the already traumatic event they've been through, and I didn't want them to change their testimony or be uncooperative with people trying to call them as witness out of fear. And so my number one duty at that point in time getting the case was to how do we protect those minors who are critical to this case to come and testify.
I'm sure you've already read and know that one of your fellow judges has already been doxxed and swatted and all the things.
I did know that.
And still no reluctance from wanting to take it on?
None.
Yeah. The decision to not have cameras or any kind of streaming, was that an easy one?
Yes, it was an easy decision, and I'll tell you why. My primary goal in any case is to make sure that the defendant and the prosecution gets a fair trial, period. I have seen from other cases around the country where cameras in the courtroom changed the way that the judge acted, the lawyers acted, some of the witnesses acted, and we were not going to have that here. We were going to really isolate the purpose for which we were here for, which is to have that fair trial, and cameras in the courtroom did not enter into that equation at all. How
much grief did you get from people around you about that decision?
I don't know. I don't listen to it. I just flat don't listen to what's going on the outside. I do what I think is right, no matter what decision that is. And I sleep well at night knowing if I follow the law, then everything works out like it's supposed to. And so these outside influences, all the noise from the outside, I really isolated myself from that in this case and in all cases, and just do my job, do the best I can, following the law.
How do you think we're talking with the attorneys, other attorneys outside of this. How do you think they describe you?
Strict, no nonsense, fair, and that to me is the most important part. I know for a fact when I make a decision here, people are unhappy. What I hope is when they walk out the door that they think they got a fair trial, or a fair hearing, or fair something. And if they do that, no matter what they think about me personally, then I've succeeded.
And you're okay with any of those characterizations?
I think they're fair.
Yeah. I hate to have to ask about stuff that emerges on social media, but I have to ask it. And I know you don't know of any of it because you're not on social media.
I'm on it. I mean, I'm an elected official, so I have a Facebook page and stuff. Do I look at it? Do I monitor it? Do I let it impact me? None, not at all.
So I have to ask, do you have a personal relationship with the Metcalfs?
I wouldn't know Mr. Metcalf prior to this trial if he walked up to me and said hello. I don't know the Metcalfs. I sympathize with the Metcalfs and what they've been through and all, but I don't know them personally. Never have.
So these AI images emerging of you and them at a party or drinking together, all
Never
of that.
happened. And that's the problem with social media, isn't it? You can't tell what's true and what's not true. I will tell you, I got some reports of some things that were coming out of this courtroom, and I wondered to myself, were they even in the same courtroom that I was? It's that bad, and I think that's tragic, because I think really if you just listen to the case based upon the facts, you'd understand it so much better.
Do you think it reinforced your decision to not have cameras or streaming inside this?
Sort of. I will tell you this, sometimes I think maybe I should have at least the audio streamed or something so people could hear it. But at the end of the day, I don't think, no matter what, people are going to distort whatever happens or whatever they hear into their own agenda. And so what's the point? And again, that noise affects people. It affects the fairness of the trial, the safety of the witnesses, the safety of the jury. And those are my primary concerns, not what social media says. And it's not my duty. I don't think it's my job to feed social media or the media stuff. I certainly understand the role that media plays in a case like this, but I'm not here to feed it. And I took that very, very seriously.
But Judge, when people don't have access to the trial or the courtroom, doesn't it invite speculation?
Well, sort of, but I got 70 seats in my courtroom, and I had 200 requests by the media to sit in the courtroom. So let's say if I just entertain the press, then I have nobody from the public watching what's going on in their county. And so I had to do a balance between the media's right to know and to be able to report what's going on, because I think that's extraordinarily important. I think it's important that the general public had access to the courtroom and to see what was going on. And so I tried to balance all those things with the primary, again, purpose of having a fair trial. And I think I struck that balance pretty well.
But the media's right to know is the public's right to know, is the public's access. We are the extension of that public.
I think somebody from the public who wanted to come watch a trial and know that they were excluded from a trial because all the media was there, I beg to differ.
Do you think there was a possibility for a learning experience? I mean, people do not know about how trial works. Do you think that this may have been an opportunity for people to know how it truly works, and that kind of erases some of the negative notions of court and trial?
I'm doing this
justice.
interview with you to make sure that people understand how the system works. And if they really wanted to, and I mean this seriously, if they wanted to, they could have stood in line with everybody else and had the 27 to 32 public seats that we had in this courtroom that we rotated every day. And so was that important to them? They could have made it in here.
How did you plan for some of the outside noise?
Well, we certainly planned with the Sheriff's Office and the McKinney Police Department and the Allen Police Department and the Frisco Police Department. So those were talks that we were having 8 months before the trial to ensure the safety of the people out in the parking lots. They certainly had a right to demonstrate and all, and I think we struck a very, very good balance that allowed them to do that, at the same time maintaining safety of everybody involved.
Did it affect your day-to-day decisions?
It didn't. Actually, I didn't. I came in from a different entrance from the courthouse. I didn't come in through the front. I couldn't hear any noise at all from my office. The jurors were not facing the parking lot, so they didn't see anything or hear anything. And I think we did a marvelous job in isolating them and having them concentrate just on what was going on in this courtroom, which was my instruction from the very, very beginning.
What made this trial different?
I think it started off bad. And it started off bad with the doxing and the swatting of the judge and the parties, the witnesses, and all that stuff. So I think it started off bad, and I'm going to attribute that to social media. And I think social media got it wrong. And it is what it is. I think that's something we have to live with these days. But I think it's my responsibility and other judges' responsibility to make sure, no matter what's going on in social media, that someone can walk in a courthouse and get a fair trial.
Did it make it very different when you realized a lot of your witnesses are young witnesses?
No, look, I've been doing this for 20 years. A lot of the witnesses come in all shapes and sizes and colors and all that. And so that was normal for me. What wasn't normal for me is to have those witnesses be intimidated by things being said on social media, because those young people rely on social media more than I certainly do. And so that sure impacted me to make sure that they did not change their testimony. They were willing to come in and tell the truth without fear of being doxxed or swatted and stuff. And so I took every precaution that I could, consistent with the law, to make that happen.
I know Steve brought it up to you, and I know that both sides probably brought it up as well. The AI images of people claiming to be inside this courtroom.
Yeah, that ticked me off a little bit, because if you're going to call yourself the press, and people are going to depend on you to tell them what's going on in this courtroom, you should be telling the truth. And so Mr. Stoller, my public information officer, brought it to my attention that some news outlets were posting photos saying from inside the courtroom. And it wasn't my courtroom, it wasn't the witness, it wasn't their testimony, and that's tragic, because, again, that just breeds the narrative that these people want to cultivate in our community to drive a wedge between us, and I think that's terrible.
Since we're on the topic of image, can we talk about some of the drawings of
Sure,
you during the sketch art?
absolutely.
What do you think? What do you think?
My wife would show me a drawing every once in a while of a court case going on. I couldn't figure out who the judge was, and that's all I'm serious. The sketch artist was awesome. She was very sweet. She was here every day, putting her life's work into those images. Because we didn't have cameras in the courtroom, that's the only visual that anybody got. She did a marvelous job. I think I'm more handsome than what she portrayed overall, but I'll let everybody else figure that out.
Did the jury get it right?
Yeah, they did. You know why? Because they were picked based upon the law. They listened to the facts that happened here in this very courtroom, and they got a verdict. And so that's the process. And whatever they say, they get it right.
There's going to be a lot of scrutiny over voir dire,
Mm-hmm.
and denied the defense, and the dismissing of 3 jurors who at least identified as African American on their bioforms. What did you make of that moment?
Well, that's not exactly how it works. The defense didn't dismiss them.
I'm sorry, the defense raised an objection.
They raised an objection, yeah.
Yeah.
They have raised an objection. Like I told you before, as long as I follow the law, I sleep well at night. And I'm telling you, I follow the law in that case. Did I know what the perception was going to be? Sure. I knew in the back of my mind what the perception was going to be. But I'm not here to satisfy perceptions. I'm not here to satisfy agendas. I'm not here to do any of those things. I'm here to follow the law. And I did it to a T. And I'm proud of that. Very proud of that.
Is this your last big trial?
It's my last big trial. The sad part about it is, I will tell you before I leave at the end of the year, I'll try a couple more murder cases, for example. The parking lot won't be full. The gallery won't be full of people watching the case. But we still have somebody who's died and someone accused of doing the killing. And it won't draw the attention that this case did. And their death is no less tragic than the tragic death of the young man in this case. And so, big trial, I guess, from an outsider's perspective, and the social media and the media interest in the case. But crime still happens in Collin County, and every single person deserves to have as fair of a trial that Carmelo Anthony had.
What's your take on Carmelo Anthony?
I don't know. I really don't know.
You've had a lot of defendants in your courtroom.
I have had a lot of defendants in my courtroom, and I talked to Mr. Anthony a couple times because I'm legally required to go over some things with him. He seems like a nice young man who committed a crime, and he understands today, more than any day before today, the consequences of committing a crime like he did.
Last question.
Yes, sir.
The future of the justice system. What do you think about it when you realize you have all these social media influencers and citizen journalists? I
don't know. I hope that the judges that hear cases, period. I was about to say high-profile cases, but that's not it. It's just any case. Realizes the importance of their job, and their job is to be fair. to the state and to the defendant, and to protect the people that come before them and make just and right decisions based upon the law. And if we can do that, that's great. The influence of social media, I think, is going to continue to impact our communities everywhere. And I hope that we can rely upon our justice system to weed through the noise and find justice for everybody who comes through our doors.
This is a personal question I wanted to ask you.
Sure.
Do you understand why the legitimate media had to be a pain in your ass?
Legitimate media. There's this guy named Jobin who I think was probably the worst of all of them, and no, I didn't understand how he could be that way. Look, I absolutely understand the media's role in all this. I mean, it's the First Amendment for a reason. It is absolutely the First Amendment for a reason. But at the same time, a defendant has a right to a fair trial, and the prosecution has a right to a fair trial. That's also in the Constitution. And so you just have to balance all those interests. And I'll honestly say, I think I balanced it well. And I know I made people mad, but I'm not here to make them happy either. I hope that the Metcalfs think that their son got a fair trial in this courtroom, as do I hope that the Anthony family thinks their son got a fair trial in this courtroom. I certainly think he did.
Did you feel the pressure of the other courts not being able to operate too?
So, of course, they're independent elected officials. They can operate if they want to.
Yeah, and some of them have.
They have.
Virtually. Yeah.
They have. We were trying to cut down on the sheriff's duty to transporting back and forth and stuff. And so I asked them if they could modify the way they are operating in court. They could go to Zoom like we did for a long time. They could, pick days that we weren't here, like on that first Tuesday. But it's up to them. Okay. It helped a lot that they cooperated. And by the way, that's one of the messages that I don't think I've been saying enough, is what we did here was a well-oiled machine. I've never seen a case.
Do you want that on the record?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm rolling.
We're rolling.
Okay. The case that we tried here in Collin County was a well-oiled machine. I mean, Collin County, it should be the model for high-profile cases from here on out. And that's because we started 8 months ago, and I met with anybody from facilities to IT to the audiovisual people to the sheriff's office. We constantly came together and met to make sure that Collin County was going to be a focus for a minute. And we wanted to make sure that everybody understood that, number one, don't come around and mess with Collin County. And because we're here for a job, that job is to make sure that everybody gets a fair trial and everybody's safe. And we wanted to go seamlessly. And one thing that does worry me a little bit is people go, oh, this was a 5-day case with the evidence. 5-day case, it must have been cut and dry. I don't know if that's true or not. It was 5 days because I wasn't wasting anybody's time. Our community needed to heal quickly. They needed this case over one way or another, but the case had to be fair first. But we accomplished that, but it was a gargantuan effort by every single person involved in Collin County and outside Collin County. And so we're very, very proud of our county, all of our employees, all of our elected officials, all of our judges, everybody in getting this case tried quickly because our community needed it to heal.
Thank you, Judge, for talking with us.
Sure.